So evening guys, I have two very interesting looking issues for you. We have issue 13 and 14, details for the cab floor and driving controls and wing panels. Let's see how much of a mess I make of it.
I've pounded the road from coast to coast, Yorkie and me rolling on. 'Cause a long day's run can be short on fun without Yorkie to help me along.
So we have the parts for issue 13, details for the cab floor, and we have got all rubber today. That's quite interesting. So we have got piece number 1, which I think is this one. This is the cab floor mat on the driver's side, and this, like I say, this is rubber. Piece number 2. Now at the moment I can't really tell the difference between, there we go. So we have got the center panel front, which I'm going to assume is this one because it's got a little F on it, and then we have piece 3 center panel rear, and I'm assuming it's the rear because it's got an R on it, and then that leaves us with a single piece cab floor mat passenger side, and this looks like it. So it also says long nose pliers and side cutters or strong nail clippers are needed for the assembly. So I've got my side cutters ready. My long nose pliers, we'll see how I get on, because you know I use cocktail sticks, pliers, anything I can get my hands on. So begin with, obviously we're going to need the cab floor. So we need to identify the positions for the floor mats on the driver's side. 1301 on the cab floor, 1101. 6 rubber pegs on the back of the mat fit into the holes on the floor circled. So this is the driver's side, and I can't see how that's going to go, because the driver's side is this side. So now I can easily see where it's going to go. So we've got this cut out there for the foot pedals, and I think the easiest way to do this is to focus on the pegs at the back. You see them there, and it's going to be there, there and there, and we just work one in. They go in very, very easily, and because this whole piece is made of rubber, the whole thing is quite flexible. So there I focused on. I can see why we need tweezers actually, because look, where the rubber pegs stick out, you can actually pull them through from the other side, so that helps pull that in. So once we've got that in, do you know what, those other 3 have just fallen into place on their own. That's how good they are. So lovely. So there we go, that's that piece in. So this shows how the pegs on the back guide the thin ends of the pegs through the hole. So that's step 2 done as well. Now carefully turn the floor over, identify the rubber pegs, and use a pair of fine nose pliers to pull the rubber pegs right through the holes in the floor. So that's exactly what I've just done, but I managed to get these in. I mean, I've got fingernails, I know some of you guys don't, but I've managed to pull that through absolutely fine. But yeah, if I had some pliers handy. Unfortunately the only pliers I've got are big heavy duty ones, and I think they're going to be far too large to do the job. But yeah, that's all it's asking us to do. So I don't know if these rubber pegs are tapered, but you know what, actually these have done the job. They're a little bit big and cumbersome, but they're fine. Right, so I'm really surprised at how well that's holding in, because of how easy they went in. You would have thought they'd have fallen out easily. Right, so we now need to identify the fixing point for the passenger floor mat. So this should be a lot simpler because we've already done it. Now the orientation it's looking for is you see that it's a little bit longer on the right hand side with a little bit poking out on the right. So I'm going to work the same way. I can see the pegs. Sorry, I've got a magazine just falling off the pile there. So I'm going to focus on the back pegs, and it is a little bit difficult to see, I'm afraid, because it is black on black, and I find that as I'm working I'm kind of creating shadows, but they're going in okay. And just this last peg, but because it's now at the front, it's quite easy to find. Yeah, I think that hole might just be slightly too small, but I will keep trying. You can't really push it, I think. Yeah, let's work on that from a different approach. Yeah, I'm just struggling with that one peg. I can't work out if the rubber maybe has a bit of flash on it. Yeah, it's not quite enough of it coming through to be able to grab it. Right, okay, so we'll keep persevering as we always do. So I'll try a different approach with a cocktail stick. I just fear that if I trim the peg, no, that one's not going through. There we go. Yeah, I just fear that if I trim that peg or I make the hole bigger, it may not sit through well. I think I've got a bit more through. There we go. There we go, it's coming. You've got to really wiggle at it. So let's see if I've got enough just to purchase. No. Right. Okay, so this is going to be my second approach, which is feel where the end is and then push it with the blunt end of a cocktail stick. And I think there was a little bit more squeezing through. Yes. Yes, I've done it. So there we go. So I've got that fully through. So we'll give all of these a bit of a tug. There we go, they're in, and then that mat is in. Wow, this is quite difficult for such a simple issue, really, isn't it? So we now need to fit the smaller mats to the central section, and I can see that there's one. I can only see one. Ah, I see. Right, this is why we've got the front and the rear. So the front with the F is going to go, that doesn't seem right to me, but it's asking us to do the rear first. So let's do this one. They don't even fit. So yeah, okay, so it'd help if I put it in the right place, wouldn't it? So the rear one kind of goes on the shelf there. You consider this is a bit of a shelf, so that's gone in absolutely fine when you put it in the correct place. So pull that through. I suppose you could put a little bit of PVA glue under there, and then lastly, now it's asking us to cut the ends of the rubber pegs close to the underside of the floor. That makes me feel a little bit nervous, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I just worry that if that does slip up, am I ever going to get it back? Right, so the next piece is to do the front, and I can see that those pegs are slightly off centre. So I'm going to do it this way round. No, it does tell you, take the set. Note that the pegs are closer to the rear of the mat. Right, so that's exactly how I wanted it in. So the pegs are about there. So you can see there's a little bit less gap at the back. Right, and then as per all the other mats, I'm just going to get my pliers. Obviously, like I say, these are a bit cumbersome. I could do a lot better job. I'm just going to trim them. I don't know why we're trimming these and not these. I will just go back through the instructions to make sure we weren't meant to trim them. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does tell us to trim them. So I'm going to go back. I'm just going to trim these edges. Like I said, I don't know why we're being asked to trim them. But, you know, the instructions tell us to. Is there anybody out there that has already built this stage and didn't trim them and is stood by that decision still? Because this is one of those things where you could always go back and trim them. So there we go. Some nice rubber mats there. Now these are obviously anti-slip, so we can put paperwork or whatever you put in the truck. These are easy clean mats for a driver who might get filthy boots. So on to stage 14, and 14 is the driving controls and wing panels, and this is where I say it's starting to get interesting. You guys know me, as soon as we start to put different colours on, regardless of the colour, that's when I tend to get a little bit excited. And there's a very tiny piece there, so be very careful. It's two very tiny. No, it's the same tiny piece. So be careful, there are some very, very small parts. So the parts that we have today are, so just getting these right. So we have upper wheel wing panel right side, and I can tell it's the right side because it's going over to the left, and there's a little tab there that sticks out on that side, whereas the upper wheel wing panel left side kind of goes off. Do you know what? I've got these the wrong way round. I did have them right. So the reason I know that they're the wrong side, I just noticed that's got an R on it. So this one I assume has got a left on it, and this is the trouble, having a three-dimensional piece and looking at a two-dimensional picture. So this is the right hand side, but it still goes off to the left, and the left hand piece goes off to the right. Now piece number 3 I think is this accelerator pedal. Yes, that's, this is a brake pedal. Guys, I don't think this is right. Brake pedals don't. Right, so this is brake pedal and this is accelerator. Normally your rubberized pedal would be the brake pedal and the accelerator would be not rubberized. And the reason they're different, you can't see these pedals when you are driving, so you need to feel them. Now the implications of hitting your accelerator instead of your brake is really, really bad. I've just shown you a clip of a bus that had what we call brake pedal confusion, and it's where a driver thinks they're hitting the brake when they actually hit the accelerator, and because one is rubberized and one is not, you can feel the difference. The other thing is, because your pedals are this way round, if your foot slips off the accelerator, then what's going to happen is it'll just slip and you'll stop accelerating, so you just will naturally slow down. That's absolutely fine. If your foot slips off the brake, it will slip onto the accelerator and then you will go faster. So you've got the rubberized grip, so that it helps grip so it doesn't go onto the accelerator. So I'm I'm not liking this. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's the accelerator and I think that's the brake. But it says that this is the accelerator pedal and this is the brake. So yeah, sorry guys, I've just bleated on there. And so anyway, so number 6, switch and cable. And that's that. Sorry, I've just, you know how you kind of lose your flow. Right, so 7, this is a gear stick, and this does look like a gear stick to me. What's that bit there? I've never seen that. Anyway, I don't know. So piece 8 is this very, very tiny gear relay button. So right, I think I know what that is, but I'm going to shut up because I don't want to make a fool of myself. And this is the gear relay. And then that leaves us with this piece, which I've completely missed. This is number 5. This is the holder for the cable connection. And that just leaves us with 10 2.3 by 4mm PB screws. So let's progress. Let's see how we get on, and just bear in mind my concerns over the pedals. So I'm really happy to say that the small tiny piece that I'm actually quite worried about is the first piece that we will use in this issue. So we need piece 7, which is the gear stick, and the red relay button, which I've just lost. I just picked it up and it slipped out of my hand. So I think I'm going to have to make a cut. There it is, I found it. This is why I don't like it. I don't like the small pieces. So this button is going, there's a hole in the bottom of the button, and that hole is going to go onto there, and I cannot rest easy until it's on. Please go on, please go on. Right. So, sorry guys, you know I normally talk as I work, but I'm focusing so much on that I can't get any words out. Right, so that is on, and I have no advice on an easy way to get that on. I kind of really relied on luck there. Right, the next stage is the gear relay. Now, we put this on. Now, there is meant to be, I can't see it, a peg on the arm of the gear stick fits into the socket. A peg on part 14.9 points outwards. So this is my peg, and there is nothing sticking out. So I'm wondering, have I got a broken part? So let's put this on so that it looks like. Right. So I'm going to have to take my glasses off for this. Yeah, I've got a broken peg. So there, I don't know if you can just see that. There's a little bit of rough bit. So I'm going to continue as though this is perfect, but I am going to contact Hachette. It might not make a massive difference. It might make all the difference. At this particular point, I just don't know. So I'll carry on. And but in all fairness, the number of broken parts or damaged parts that I've had for Hachette are very, very small in number, so I'm not overly worried. Right, so now we are looking for, because this is black, it's very awkward and it's hard to see detail. So this, right, okay, it's got nothing to do with that. Right, so identify the shaped hole in the cab floor where the gear stick is fitted. So it is there. It is there. So there should be a hole with a keyhole there. So that's going to go into there like so. And that gear relay is going to go into the hole there. So let's put the relay in first. Right, there we go. Wow, look at the length of that gear stick. I bet that's a job and a half to change gears, isn't it? To go all the way down, all the way up, all the way down through all of the gears. Wow, that's a job and a half. Right, so that needs to be fixed with a PB 2x4mm screw, and I need to hold this in place while I fix that screw. And I'm just hoping, do you know, you ever get that feeling when you haven't put something in right? I'm actually getting that feeling with this. It just doesn't feel right. But looking at the magazine, it looks absolutely perfect. So I'm going to call that bit done, and I'm really not going to worry about that tiny detail there. If there was like half the door scratched off, then yeah, I'd be a bit upset. Right, so okay, so next we want what they are calling the brake pedal, which I think is the accelerator pedal. And that wants to go right. The large peg on the underside of the pedal fits into the hole on the cab floor, and small pegs fit into the loops in the floor. Red arrow. Do you know what? I think they have got it the wrong way round, and I'll tell you why. It's telling us to put the large peg into the hole and the small pegs into the loops in the floor. Now where are the... oh, there's two small pegs there. Right, so how's that going to go in? How on earth is that going in? You know, I don't like this. Do you know what? I'm gonna... oh, hang on. That might be correct. And the reason I say it might be correct is wasn't there like a long time ago the clutch and the brake were the opposite way round, and that this is all a new thing. Right, is that supposed to move? I don't think that is. I'm not liking this. That one's not fitting. Right. Test that you can move the brake pedal. You can't. Do you know what? That's not moving either. Right. See, all that's done is got caught up on the mat. Unless I've got the peg in the wrong place. Right. I might have to do a cut here, guys. Right, okay. Right, okay, I think it's me who's got it wrong. I think... No. See, that will move up and down, but it's pulling the mat with it. The mat that I'm concerned about. I really don't like this, guys. I'm not convinced it's the correct pedal. But the alleged correct pedal doesn't seem to be moving either. It moves up and down, but all it does, it takes the mat with it. I really don't like that pedal, guys. I'm not happy with this at all. And the more times I keep changing these pedals around... See, look, you've even got a little footrest. Can you see there's a little lip there? That's to help stop your foot slipping off. This one hasn't got one, because you don't want your foot sticking to the accelerator. Do you know what? I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to do what I want to do. I think that's the way it goes. No, this one's not going in at all. That's not meant to, is it? That's why. But that will go in. Right, so this has got movement, but I'm not happy with how it's moving. I don't know if you can see that. There's hardly any movement. This has obviously got no movement, and it's pulled up the mat. So now I'm beginning to wish I'd... Do you know what? I'm not going to worry about it, because yes, it's nice to have brake lights, but I won't be playing with the brake lights after a couple of weeks, and I think that looks better anyway. I think that looks more as it should. Right, so step 4, fit the switch on the back of the cable into the holder. And even this is an awkward one, because you've got to bend. I've just knocked my camera, I do apologise. Right, so that's going to go in. So I've got to manipulate this. Is that right? Yeah, it is right. Wow, this is difficult to do. Is anyone else having trouble with this? I don't want to push on the switch too much. It looks like it's embedded a bit more than that. Right, let's see how this gets on. You know, I think there's going to be enough there to trigger that switch. Right, so I'm struggling to get that switch into there. So I'm going to just try and push with 2 soft objects. But I don't want to push on the switch because these can be damaged. But I think this wiring is in the way. So let's just gently bend this wire. Don't ever yank the wires too much, because the friction will cause them to break. Oops. Do you know, I've got my own theme song stuck in my head now. Wow, this is a really tricky issue. So I think I've just found my least favourite issue. Do you know, I think there might be too much in there. I think the mouldings, let me just take my... Yeah, look, I can see what's happened. It's taken the side out. And it's kind of scraped some of the side away. There's a little bit of a mould line in there, I presume, to make it go in nice and tight, But what it's done is, obviously the metal on the switch has taken it out, and it's just, there we go, that's a lot better. It's not perfect, it's not gone in all the way. There we go, that's a lot better. That's much better. Right, so let's test. This is the next step, is to install this. But I don't want to start putting screws in. Do you know what? That's not working. That is not happening. But I think the switch is not in straight. At least the switch works. I've just done another part work and the switch broke, and it's a real shame. Right, so that's not engaging. I'm really not happy with this part, you know. So whether I need to adjust it. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead with this switch. I'm going to install this switch, and then I'm going to play around with the pedals again. So I need two of these screws, but I have a theory. Let's tell you what. Let's put this the right way round, shall we? That will probably help. I'm just trying to get this so that I get a click on the switch. Do you know, I think that might work. I might need to take a break. I don't normally do this, but I normally build before I watch anyone else build. I assume a lot of other people do the same. But I might have to watch some other build videos to see how other people have done it. Right, so that's the switch in. Yeah, that's not clicking. So let's remove this pedal, and then we'll remove this pedal and get the map back. So let's, right, I think the switch is engaging, or is it? I don't know. It could be the switch isn't in place properly. No, it's not. It's not engaging. So that suggests to me it's not a problem with the pedal, it's a problem with the switch position. Now whether it's because I've put it in wrong or because it's a bad switch, I'm really not sure at the moment. But yeah, that switch is definitely working. Right, so I think it's the housing. Yeah, I am convinced it's the housing. Look, I don't know if you can see there, but it's gone white inside. That's where it's kind of stripped a bit of the plastic out, and I think that's stopping it from sitting properly. Now guys, I am playing with a very sharp knife here. If you do the same, please be careful. Right, that has gone right in, and that is tight. So I'm happy with that. So I am gonna put the switch in before I put the pedals. And that is done on purpose, because I think that might help. Whoops, let's flip the screwdriver around the correct way. Gosh, this is a tricky part, isn't it? I think I have what they call one of those bad issues. Right, so that switch is definitely engaging. So let's put the brake in. Got it. That is definitely engaging. You probably won't hear that, but that is definitely engaging. So the pedal that I think is the brake is working absolutely fine. Now we know that the accelerator pedals never do anything, so that's what I'm going with, guys. I don't care what the instructions say. I am not happy having a grippy accelerator pedal and a slippy brake pedal. That to me is the accelerator pedal. That's the pedal where if it slips it's safe. This is the pedal that's grippy, like it's got rubber on it, you've got a place to sit your foot. You can feel those pedals, the difference between the two. Because look, if you imagine you're driving along in this Eddie Stobart truck, you're carrying a full load of, let's have a look at the articles, motorways. So, right, here we go. So, we've got, here you go, look. So you're driving along, you've got this train on the back, because you're taking this train from one place to another. You're weighing an absolute ton, aren't you? Your pedal, your foot slips, you accidentally touch that accelerator, and boom, you know, there's nothing stopping you. I think that is the correct pedal. If anyone wants to disagree with me, I will listen to you. You know I will always listen to people who put together a good argument. But for now, I think that is correct. So, right, so let's carry on with the rest. I spent a lot of time on that bit. It's not a problem, because you know I will spend as much time on something as I need to. Right, so identify the fixing points for the left hand side upper wheel wing panel 14.2. The 3 red tabs with screw holes aligned with raised screw sockets on the underside. So this is the right, this is the left. This is the left, so it wants to go on the right. Remember, we're upside down. So according to this, it wants to go right. Which way round is it? I think it is actually this way. There we go. No. Is that right? Right, now I see why there's a left and a right. No, I don't see why there's a left and a right. Right. Ah, okay, I've missed a stage 8, my bad. So this wire, it needs to come round. There's a little gap there. I'm so sorry, guys. I got a bit so sorted out that thing. I got missed this out. Right, so identify the fixing points for the left hand side. So the left hand side is here. So there we go. So this is the left hand side. So we've got a fixing point there, there and there. You can see the 3 fixing points there. So we'll start off with this one, and that locates really nicely. So I think we can guess what's coming next. If you guessed the same as me, you said screw it in. So let's get 3 screws, and these are the 2x3 by 4mm. So you know how I'm going to do this. I'm just going to pop one end in, just enough to bite. Then I'm going to put the other end in, just enough to bite. And then we can check that that's all in properly, which I believe it is. So then we'll pop the middle one in. There we go, and then I can tighten the first 2 screws up. There we go, that one's in, and then the next step is going to be doing the opposite side. So now we know where to look for the fixing points, we can kind of get this one done a little bit easier. Right, there we go. So we'll do the end one first, just enough to bite. Let's get 2 more screws in. Okay, excuse me sniffing, I'm getting over a cold, but I'm really happy to say it was a cold. I'm going to go completely off topic. Obviously I was concerned it was COVID. I've also recently been under the doctor who's been reviewing my asthma medication, and I said, oh, I'm alright, I've got it under control. I use my blue inhaler a couple of times a week. And she says, oh no, that's far too much. So she's given me a brown one to use every day. And as I said to her the other day, I said, I don't understand the logic of using a brown one 4 squirts a day to save me 2 or 3 squirts a week. But I've done it because you asked me to. And I said the second week, I said I was using it a lot, really was using my blue inhaler a lot. And then the next week I got a cold. Normally I use my inhaler a lot when I have a cold, and but I haven't used it at all. And she went, no, that's absolutely normal. Apparently your body can feel a cold before you can, and me using my inhaler was my body's way of coping with it. So anyway, so that is that part done. And now that I've completed this, I'm gonna really push the boat out and say, yes, fantastic issue. Anyone who's known me for a while knows I'm a problem solver. I like when things don't go well. I scream and I shout and I swear a lot when things aren't going right. But when it's all fixed, I'm like, yeah, I'm really happy. So I'm assuming there's going to be another pedal somewhere, because unless that acts as a clutch, I don't know. But yeah, happy with this. This is working. This is connecting. This is working as a brake. Obviously, this is going to connect to brake lights. We already know that. And this does nothing. But most Hachette builds don't do anything on the accelerator pedal. That looks a little bit lopsided to me. I don't know if you guys would agree. It actually looks better on camera than it does on real life. Or maybe it's just, maybe I've got a wonky eye today. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. So let's see if I can do a front view. Yes, I can. So normally I don't do a summary, as you know. But that was a tricky issue. I'm obviously not happy when a part work makes mistakes, but I am happy when I can put them right. I managed to put this one right, and I think I am happy with that. I am very happy with that. I'm happy with the way this looks. So yeah, so as I keep mentioning, at the time of filming, I have now run out of issues, so I don't know what's coming. This is all I know about next week. Cab, tilting, crank and supports, but I'm still doing 2 issues a week. So I'm going to be doing 15 and 16 next week, unless 15 and 16 are very short issues, in which case I might try and get a 3rd or 4th one in. But let's bank on us doing just 2 issues. I've got my next 4 issues due at the time of filming. They're due to come next week, but I'm doing an accelerated build because I started my subscription 2 months late. I think it was about 2 or 3 months into the actual release date. So I am behind, and I had a chat with Hachette, lovely guy. I'm going to mention his name, Ben. Ben is absolutely wonderful, and he's sorted things out for me, and he says, yeah, no problems, you can get an acceleration. All I have to do is phone them up, make a month's payment, and they'll do an accelerated build. Now I bought some replacement terminator issues, which about 5, I thought I'd lost about 8 or 9 issues. So I went onto the Harshett website and reordered them so that I could complete the terminator, which you can't actually see because it's above the bus behind me. If you want to see my terminator, drop a message in the comments and I will do a special video just showing off my terminator. I suspect most of you that are interested in the terminator have seen it, have seen somebody else's terminator, so that's why I've not done a video. So yeah, about 5 minutes after I'd ordered these terminator parts, I found all the issues that I was missing. So I didn't need to make the order. So I rang Harshett up and I said, can I cancel the order? And they said, yeah, we'll try and cancel it, but if it's too late you can just send the parts back and we'll refund you. And I said, that's not a problem. I said, you'll end up getting my money anyway. And I've decided that the refund from the terminator is about the same amount as 2 months worth of Eddie Stobart. So I said, right, as soon as I get that refund I'll give it straight back to you, which is what I'm trying to do. But they've got some problems with payment system. As I said, I can't remember if I said it in this issue or the previous one. I think it's to do with this new upgrading of security online payments thing. I know they were warning me, what is it now? It's now Friday the 21st of March when I'm filming this. Monday just gone is when they all upgraded all the system, and apparently everyone was going to be getting bounced payments. I've not experienced that, but I have had trouble paying Harshett. So it might well be that I don't ever catch up because we can't get the payments made, or we might get it sorted out, I don't know. Right guys, so I'm going to leave the video there. You know I can talk all day long. I'm treating this like a live now, aren't I? So next week is issue 15, the cab tilting crank and supports, followed by whatever is issue 16, and I will catch you guys next week.